we're going to cover a lot of these convention speeches as promised because we want to give just as much coverage over to the Democratic National Convention as we did to the Republican National Convention. And the first up on our list, and let me give you a little bit of a preview of what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover, and thank you for the super chat. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. We're going to cover AOC's speech. We're going to cover Hillary Clinton's speech. Then obviously, we're going to spend an extended amount of time on Biden's speech. We want to go over to Trayon White. He was arrested as a D.C. councilwoman for bribery. We definitely want to have a conversation about layoffs over at Cisco and GM. And then if we still have time, then we'll go over a woman that moved to Iceland from the United States of America. But we definitely want to spend a majority of our time and give the same amount of coverage to the Democratic National Convention as we did the Republican National Convention. All right, y'all ready? Let's go ahead and get it popping.
Please welcome New York Representative Alexandria
I'm going to skip through this
Ocasio-Cortez.
to try to get to the core of this. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it.
Thank you, Chicago, for your energy. Thank you, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, for your vision.
Let me say this. I believe that AOC, if we get through this Kamala Harris thing, I think that AOC will probably be promoted. And when I say promoted, I think that she's going to be given to you guys and then ultimately become the one that is possibly going to run for president of the United States at some point. I do believe that. She fits all of the boxes. She checked all of the boxes. She definitely going to be one of the ones that they promote on the Democratic side to try to become president of the United States of America. You know, she got the background. I worked as a waitress.
I was taking omelet orders as a waitress in New York City.
See what I'm saying?
I didn't have health insurance. My family was fighting off foreclosure. And we were struggling with bills after my dad passed away unexpectedly from cancer. Like millions of Americans, we were just looking for an honest shake. And we were tired of a cynical politics that seemed blind to the realities of working people. It was then, only through the miracles of democracy and community, that the good people of the Bronx and Queens chose someone like me to elect them in Congress. And America, in my heart, I know from that same cloth of hope and aspiration, we will also elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as presidents and vice presidents of the United States of America.
Think about that. You can go from being an omelet taker to being a Congress member. That's insane, bro.
A rare and precious opportunity. In Kamala Harris, we have a chance to elect a president who is for the middle class because she is from the middle class. She understands the urgency of rent checks and groceries and prescriptions. She is as committed to our reproductive and civil rights as she is to taking on corporate greed.
What a lot of people don't realize is that it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. So AOC, she checks all of the boxes. She's actually pretty. You know, she's a woman of color. She comes from the background in which, you know, I was an omelet taker and all of this other stuff or whatever. And she fits that narrative, right? She was a waitress. She achieved the American dream by ultimately getting nominated and then winning her seat in Congress because she decided, you know, she went viral. She knows how to speak and she can communicate clearly. And, you know, again, pretty privilege matters also. And the fact that she can communicate clearly, I think that she absolutely is one of the ones to go. And so the fact that when AOC and people like this are giving these speeches, they're not giving these speeches because they're actually advocating for Kamala Harris. They're advocating for themselves. This is an opportunity for them to promote themselves. And so she's continuing to put herself in the eyes and endear herself to her constituents and to the Democratic Party. And so she's working her way up the ladder. And I honestly, in my heart, believe that AOC at some point is going to be pushed and then ultimately run for president of the United States of America. She very well can be, and I absolutely despise what she stands for. I don't like the fact that she advocates for immigration into this country, illegal immigration into this country. There's a lot of her talking points that just absolutely make my skin, it's just horrible. I think that she would be a horrible person to run a country. However, it doesn't change the fact that it's the same thing every single time. It's marketing. She's not saying anything any different than anybody else. It's the same speech. Oh my God, work in America, from the middle class, from people. Listen, the whole America is from the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is from the same thing. However, it doesn't change the fact that y'all got bad policy, bad politics, and y'all advocating for the worst of America, and y'all eventually gonna give it over to the immigrants. So, but I do think that she fits the narrative, and she's going to check every single box, and she don't have no smut on her name and her background and all this other negative stuff that, for example, Kamala Harris got. And she's gonna be given to y'all in order to be a presidential candidate on the Democratic side at some point. I absolutely see it.
And she is working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing hostages home. In Kamala Harris, I see a leader who understands. I see a leader with a real commitment to a better future for working families. And Chicago, we have to help her win. Because we know that Donald Trump would sell this country for $1 if it meant lining his own pockets and greasing the palms of his Wall Street friends. And
it's the same speech. It's the same thing over and over again. And it's so funny because we actually experienced Donald Trump for 4 years and we prospered as a nation, and we didn't experience any of that.
Of hearing about how a two-bit union buster thinks of himself as more of a patriot than the woman who fights every single day to lift working people out from under the boots of greed, trampling on our way of life.
She thinks she Martin Luther King.
The truth is, Don, you cannot love this country if you only fight for the wealthy and big business. To love this country is to fight for its people, all people, working people, everyday Americans like bartenders and factory workers and fast food cashiers who punch a clock and are on their feet all day in some of the toughest jobs out there. You know, ever since I got elected, Republicans have attacked me by saying that I should go back to bartending.
Facts. Facts.
But let me tell you,
I'm with that.
I'm happy to any day of the week because there is nothing wrong with working for a living.
She's good. She knows how to play on the American people's emotions, and she speaks to a demographic that needs to have that validation and wants to identify with somebody. 100%.
Leaders like Kamala and Tim.
Who has never had,
But
now remember, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, I've shown y'all on a live stream last week where I broke down Tim Walz, how much money that he makes and whether or not he's actually investing in what's going on here in America. They've never held a private sector job in their life. Not one day in their life. They've never held a private sector job in their adult lives, ever. They've always worked and used your tax dollars in order to pay their bills and continue to enrich themselves. So remember, when they're sitting there telling y'all about how these people are so much of y'all and a part of the middle class, they're lying to you. They have never held a private sector job in their lives. Every single paycheck has come from you guys, the taxpayers. Every last one of them. Every paycheck has come from the taxpayers. No matter what they've done for a living, is you that has paid their salaries. Remember that.
Though, just because the choice is clear to us does not mean that the path will be easy. Over the next 78 days, We will have to pour every ounce, every minute, every moment into making history on November 5th. But we cannot send Kamala and Tim to the White House alone. Together, we must also elect strong Democratic majorities in the House and in the Senate so that we can deliver on an ambitious agenda for the people. Because if you are a working parent trying to afford rent and childcare, Kamala is for you. If you are a senior who had to go back to work because your retirement didn't stretch far enough, Kamala is for you. If you're an immigrant family just starting your American story, Kamala is for you.
You see that? That's who they truly speaking to. I usually say that I have a 3-tier system. The thing that I'm working on now, the thing that I'm working on for the next 2 to 5 years, and then the thing that I ultimately want to manifest in 10 years. She did that exact same playbook. And so what she did was she spoke to the people that were now, the ones that they know is going to send their absentee ballots in and is going to vote today, which is the seniors. Those is a large demographic of people that actually participate in the election, regardless of what side of the aisle they on, they participate. Then she spoke to the people that needed their heartstrings played on, that they needed to galvanize to get up to the polls, which is if you are a single mother, if you're a single parent and they're speaking to you, they want to take care of you. That's the tier 2. And the tier 3 is speaking to immigrants that come into this country. They want them to be galvanized and excited and participate and then be tied to the Democratic Party. Let me rewind one part of this speech so that you guys can understand what's going on.
If you're an immigrant family just starting your American story, Kamala is for you.
Oh, we know. We absolutely know. Them borders being open, one thing that we know for sure is because I don't necessarily go based off of what people say. What you say is a confirmation of what you do, or what you don't say is a confirmation of what you do. What I know for sure is that the Biden-Harris administration and then the Harris-Walz administration, if they were to get elected, is absolutely 100%. They didn't say anything about Black people, people of color, people that are suffering, the factory workers and none of that. She said specifically, she spoke to her demographic that they can galvanize. And they said, listen, immigrants, even though you may need a translator, understand this. If you just starting your American journey and you just got here, guess what? Teach your kids to join the Democratic Party because we are the ones that's going to make sure that you get everything you need. And look what we've done for you so far. Look what we've done for you. So they're literally telling you to your face. Now, I will have people that come up on my panels. I'll have people that join my live streams. I'll have people that jump inside of my comments and say, oh, no, look, Anton, you don't know what you're talking about. You just this, you that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is they will skip over this part because they didn't watch the Democratic National Convention. I'm more informed about what the Democrats are doing than they are. And they're literally telling them word for word, listen, we are going to support you with our tax dollars that the American people are paying. And I don't care if you just got over here, just starting your American journey, you having kids over here. Okay, the kids are now going to be American citizens. We are for you. Tie yourself to the Democratic Party. It's the play. She's literally telling y'all right to your face, and it doesn't even matter because you're not going to do nothing about it.
America, when we knock on our neighbor's door, organize our communities, and elect Kamala Harris to the presidency on November 5th, we will send a loud message that the people of this nation will not go back. We choose a new path and open the door to a new day, one that is for the people and by the people. Thank you.
And going back to what? Because apparently we going back to the Biden administration, the Harris Biden administration. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was AOC's speech.